The first step in mastering this art is a shift in vocabulary. We must distinguish between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a hunger. It is the painful feeling that you are missing something or that you are invisible to the world. But solitude is a feast. It is the discovery that your own company is enough. It is the moment you stop being a victim of the quiet and start being its architect. Think of your life as a grand library. For decades, people were constantly running through the aisles, moving the books, making noise. You couldn't hear your own thoughts. Now, the visitors have left. The doors are closed. For the first time, you can actually sit down and read the volumes you've spent 70 years writing. The fix? Stop treating your house like a waiting room and start treating it like a sanctuary. In a waiting room, you're passive. You look at the clock. You wait for the phone to ring. But in a sanctuary, you are intentional. You don't just eat lunch. You set the table with your finest linen and enjoy the flavors. You don't just sit. You meditate. You don't just pass time. You invest it in your inner garden. Science shows that those who embrace solitude actually have higher cognitive reserve. By engaging with your own mind through journaling, reading, or deep reflection, you are literally thickening the neural connections that keep you sharp. Paradoxically, the more you befriended yourself, the less you will desperately need others to fill the gaps. And when you do connect with friends or family, you will do so from a place of abundance, not from a place of hunger. You become the lighthouse that stands firm on the rock, unshakable, whether the ships are near or far. The silence isn't your enemy. It's the canvas where your soul finally gets to speak. Listen closely. What is it trying to tell you? The first step in this mastery is a profound shift in vocabulary. We must distinguish between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a hunger. It is the hollow, painful feeling that you are missing something, or that the world has moved on without you. It is a state of lack. But solitude is a feast. It is the discovery that your own company is not just enough. It is abundant. Think of it this way. Loneliness is being a prisoner of the silence. Solitude is being its architect. When you sit in a quiet room and feel the urge to turn on the television or scroll through your phone just to drown out the stillness, you are running away from yourself. But the moment you put the phone down, breathe, and realize that you are in the company of a person who has survived 7 decades of life, that is when the feast begins. You become a quiet sage. This isn't just a poetic term. It is a psychological state of being. A quiet sage is someone whose inner world, their memories, their reflections, their internal dialogue, is as rich, colorful, and vibrant as the world outside. In this state, you are never truly alone. You are surrounded by the wisdom you've gathered, the books you've loved, and the quiet strength you've built. You no longer look at a quiet house as an empty space, but as a sacred gallery of your own existence. The question is no longer, who will talk to me today, but rather, what will I discover about myself today? When you reach this level of comfort within your own skin, you possess a freedom that most people spend their entire lives searching for. You are finally and completely your own best friend. Many people at 70 or 80 make the mistake of looking outward for stimulation, fearing that if the world stops talking to them, they will cease to exist. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Your inner life is the greatest asset you own. Think of your mind as a grand private library. For decades, it was crowded, noisy, and chaotic. People were constantly running through the aisles, misplacing books, and shouting over each other. You couldn't hear your own thoughts. Now, the visitors have left, the doors are closed, and for the first time in your life, you have the key. This isn't empty time, it is curated time. You can finally sit down and read the volumes you've spent 7 decades writing. Your memories are not just ghosts of the past, they are mentors. When you reflect on a challenge you overcame 40 years ago, you aren't just reminiscing. You are reinforcing your own resilience. In the quiet, your inner life becomes a vibrant landscape. You can travel back to the streets of your childhood, re-examine the lessons of your career, and finally understand the why behind the what. The fix? Stop consuming and start contemplating. A mind that is constantly fed by the noise of the news or the distractions of the screen becomes weak, but a mind that engages with itself through journaling, prayer, or deep silent thought becomes a fortress. This internal dialogue is what keeps you cognitively sharp and emotionally unshakable. When your inner world is rich, the outer world loses its power to make you feel small. You aren't a lonely person in a quiet house. You're a monarch in a palace of wisdom. And that is a wealth that no one can ever take from you. The secret to mastering solitude lies in how you begin your day. To thrive alone, you must stop passing time and start investing it. Think of your morning not as a gap to be filled, but as a ceremony to be celebrated. Most people wake up and immediately reach for the noise, the television, the radio, or the digital scroll, fearing the silence of an empty house. But the quiet sage knows that rhythm is the antidote to despair. The fix? Create rituals of joy that are exclusively for you. Don't just make coffee. Perform a coffee ceremony. Grind the beans, feel the warmth of the mug, and set the table with your finest linen, even if it is just for you. When you treat your solitary moments with high respect, you send a powerful signal to your subconscious. I am a person of value. I am worth the effort. Take a slow, intentional walk. Don't just walk for exercise, walk for observation. Notice the way the light hits the leaves or the crispness of the morning air. These aren't just tasks, they are anchors. They keep you from drifting into the fog of passivity. By structuring your morning with these small, beautiful rituals, you transform a lonely house into a sacred beginning. You aren't waiting for the world to start your day. You are starting your world on your own terms. Remember, a beacon doesn't wait for a ship to appear before it starts to shine. It shines because that is its nature. Start your day by shining for yourself first. Paradoxically, the better you are at being alone, the more profound your connections with others become. When you no longer need people to escape the silence of your own mind, your relationships undergo a beautiful transformation. Most people see company as a distraction, a way to avoid the person staring back at them in the mirror. But once you have mastered the art of solitude, you no longer reach out from a place of hunger. You reach out from a place of abundance. The fix? Choose quality over quantity. When you do decide to pick up the phone or meet a friend for tea or write a letter to a grandchild, you aren't doing it to kill time. You are doing it because you have something to share. You aren't a shadow seeking a flame. You are a beacon yourself, and other lights are naturally drawn to your steady glow. You learn to set boundaries. You no longer feel obligated to attend every noisy gathering. or engage in shallow small talk that leaves you feeling drained. Instead, you seek soul-deep conversations. You connect on your own terms, at your own pace. Think of it as a garden. When you are lonely, you grab any weed just to have something in your hands. But when you are in solitude, you wait for the roses. You understand that a single, meaningful conversation is worth more than 1,000 hours of empty noise. By being comfortable alone, you become a person of depth. And the world, the right parts of the world, will always find its way to a person who is at peace. There is a specific kind of power that belongs only to those who have mastered the quiet. We call it the quiet sage. It is the ability to observe the world without being shaken by it. While the rest of the world is frantic, loud, and constantly reacting to the latest crisis, you stand firm, rooted in your own peace. You have reached a vantage point that younger generations simply cannot access yet. Think of a mountain. At the base, there is noise, traffic, and confusion. But at the summit, there is only the wind and the view. The quiet sage doesn't look down on the world with judgment, but with compassion. From the height of your 70 or 80 years, you can see the patterns. You know that storms pass. You know that seasons change. The fix? Stop apologizing for your silence. In a society that equates busy with important, choosing to be a quiet sage is a revolutionary act. You are no longer a consumer of noise. You are a producer of peace. When people look at you, they shouldn't see someone who was left behind. They should see someone who has arrived. This is the ultimate freedom of the golden years. The realization that your happiness is no longer held hostage by the presence or the approval of others. You are a sovereign entity. Your mind is your kingdom, and your peace is your law. When you speak, your words carry the weight of decades. When you listen, you do so with a depth that heals. You are the quiet sage that every family and every community desperately needs. The one who knows that the most important conversations often happen in the silence. If you are listening to these words in a quiet house today, I want you to take a deep breath and look around. That silence you hear, it is not an empty space. It is a canvas. It is the sacred ground where your soul finally has the room to speak without being interrupted. You have spent a lifetime caring for others, building worlds, and weathering storms. You have earned this stillness. Don't let the world tell you that being alone is a shadow. It is a spotlight. It is the ultimate luxury of the golden years, the freedom to be exactly who you are, with no one to please but the person in the mirror. Before you go, I have a question for you, and I truly want to read your answer. What is the one thing you have discovered about yourself? Perhaps a hidden talent, a forgotten memory, or a new sense of peace, since you began to embrace the quiet. Share your story in the comments below. Your words might be the exact beacon that someone else, sitting in their own quiet house, needs to find their way home tonight. If this reflection brought you a moment of peace, please subscribe and join our global community of wise souls here at the Inner Beacon. We are walking this path together, one quiet step at a time. I'm Alistair. Stay wise, stay bright, and remember, the light is always on.